I've taught economics, mainly macroeconomics, done some micro as well, and it's been a blended distance learning. So it's kind of a 50% of the time you meet in the classroom, 50% they're on their own, or you can meet them synchronous online. So you basically have contact one way or the other, but everything is otherwise is online. So yeah, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the experience. In Blackboard, you have a feature called the virtual classroom, in which case students actually come into the classroom, but they come in from wherever they are, basically get on the computer and enter the classroom, and you can sit wherever you want, and you're effectively teaching a class. You can see the students on the screen, the names of the students, and you have a board, just like the whiteboard. It's up in front of you, and you could start a conversation with the students. Of course, they have to type in their response, because unfortunately Blackboard still doesn't have that feature of what WebEx or Skype might provide. But the good thing is it has a feature where you can record the whole session. So if a student couldn't come in, they could go in and look at the conversation that took place. And I find teaching synchronous basically is really like being in a classroom, but now you're online. So it gives them the flexibility of learning from their comfortable space. One is I think today's student needs to be more of a critical thinker, an action learner, rather than one who just takes what they're given and reproduce. And I think online courses provides that opportunity, because the student has to be self-motivated to learn, because a lot of it they're learning depending on how this course is structured, they're responsible to do their reading and come back as educated about the topic. So then you have a different level of conversation. So I think it develops a more active learner, more a critical thinker, and I think it also helps them develop their communication skills, which is so lacking today. Yeah, I have a combination of things. I'm moving away from the traditional multiple choice kind of testing. So this gives them an opportunity to use the discussion board, where they can actually express their thoughts amongst each other and build on each other's thoughts. So that's one way. The other is they could post a journal, depending on how either pose a question or they reflect on what learning took place during the week. So that gives them an opportunity to do a writing exercise. And it also gives me an opportunity to give them feedback and get feedback from them as well. And then you do have the traditional, exam that you have to give. Depending on the size of the class, again, you can determine how you want to work that out. It's been mostly a positive experience, I guess, because I enjoy doing it so much that I think it's been a positive experience overall. But yeah, the challenges are, again, technology is not 100% reliable. Things happen. So as long as you're willing to be flexible and help the students be flexible, I think that's a skill in itself. That enables the student as well to develop that, because in today's world you have to be willing to improvise and change depending on how things go. So that's one challenge. The other is, I guess it takes a lot of time from the faculty. It's 24/7. Again, it depends on how you want to structure it. That you can have specific times when students come in for office hours, or how you respond to them, how frequently you respond. But it takes a lot more work on the part of the faculty. But if you enjoy it, it doesn't really, it doesn't matter. But I think it also gives you more flexibility as a instructor, because it empowers the student to now direct the learning, and helps you be the facilitator rather than the traditional instructor way of delivering the material. Online teaching or hybrid courses again lends itself to bringing in either virtual faculty or a virtual conversation with either students or a guest speaker, or another learning opportunity basically. And so today we had an opportunity to talk with students from Peru who are doing community development and interacting with labor and women's issues and discrimination and developmental work, and this course is labor economics. So we had these students from Peru talking to my class this morning, and we were able to record it. Hopefully we have some good recording. But it was such an amazing experience because these were young students who haven't even started college. They're going to be freshmen in the fall. And here I have a group of seniors who are looking to see what can they do with their life going forward. And it was just fascinating to watch the way it developed and the kind of questions that they posed and the answers they got back. And the class was over, the students go, "Oh my gosh, those are 18-year-olds." So that's an option you can do on an online course, where you can have a conversation with around the world, literally. Well, I used Skype, which was BCTC loaded it on for me, almost from the second day of the request. I was done, which was great. And so we just logged into Skype, and we had cameras and a microphone, and that was it. And the connection between Peru and New York City was so good. It almost felt like they were somewhere close by. A couple of times the connection kind of didn't go off, but the sound stopped because there must have been a power glitch or something. Mm-hmm. But it didn't disconnect us at all, and we just moved on. There was no problem. Go for it. It's but if one thing is you want to be passionate about teaching online and be convinced that that's a way you can engage students. You can also enhance participation in the class because it helps them communicate much more freely than if they're with their peers. Sometimes they're hesitant to speak. For example, some of the sciences might be harder to do, and you need lab experiments and things like that.
Right.
Math, some of the math. But it depends again how you structure the course, and your face-to-face meetings could be the hands-on lab work. But I think most courses can be taught online. Again, but the other problem is, the other limitation, I guess, would be the size of the class. So you'd have smaller classes, but more sections. So I think ideally about 20 to 25 students would make for a really effective learning environment online. In terms of the environment, it saves a lot of paper. And it probably also saves the student cost in commuting up and down. And it also helps the fact that you can, if you're teaching online in the synchronous mode, you can multitask, because now I could talk to 3 students as well as continue my conversation with the rest of the class. I could be setting up office hours, on the side, or I could be addressing a student who's not participating in the class. I could send a private message. I can't do that in a traditional classroom without making the student feel, uncomfortable. And I wouldn't do it, but in an online setting, it allows you to do some things like that. So the student realizes that you're watching everything, that you're there for them. You're concerned that they need to be part of the group as well. Well, I think it's also takes the barrier between the student and teacher away, and it becomes almost like you're now in a close partnership with each other in terms of learning, And I think that empowering the student empowers the faculty as well. And I think in the process both benefit.